Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the movie Sinister. Sinister stars Ethan Hawke as a struggling true crime author who hasn't had a hit novel in about 10 years. Interestingly enough, his last hit book was called Kentucky Blood, which I thought was kind of cool. But as desperate as he is to write a hit book, unbeknownst to his family, he moves them into a house where a quadruple homicide had taken place and a kidnapping. During the course of researching his book, he discovers a box full of old Super 8 films up in the attic of the house. And on those Super 8 films are the footage of several other families being murdered, and he discovers that the link that brings all these families together, or all the murders of these families, are: number one, they were all families; number two, there was always one child that went missing and was never heard from again; and number three, there are creepy pentagram type images there in the footage, written on the walls, on cars, stuff like that. And the images actually aren't pentagrams, but they are the mark of an obscure pagan deity called Bughuul, aka the Child Eater. So, yeah, pretty soon all havoc ensues. Ethan Hawke realizes that he's bitten off far more than he can chew with the making of this book, and that his family and himself are in grave, grave danger at the hands of Bughuul, the Child Eater. When I first saw the trailer for Sinister, of course they sold it, from the people who brought you Insidious. So it's really hard for me to separate Insidious from Sinister because, they've tried to sell Sinister to the Insidious crowd. Insidious was a surprise hit. Really great horror flick. I really can't say enough good things about it. Really enjoyed it. And they're hoping that same crowd who saw Insidious is going to come and see Sinister. Is Sinister as good as Insidious? No, not in my opinion. No, it's not. Is it a good, solid, creepy thriller? Yeah, it is. It is. It does a lot of things well. I definitely have more pros than cons with the movie. The performances are all really good. Ethan Hawke is great in the lead. They managed to build some creepy, tense sequences in the movie with some good payoffs. A lot of the footage, the old footage showing the murders of the families are really well done and really kind of intense and creepy and stuff. The deity, the whatever you want, the demon, whatever, Bughuul, is pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, just some good creepy moments in the film. Unfortunately, I think with Sinister, they relied more on a lot of sort of cheap boo scares, as opposed to with Insidious. Insidious gave us some boo scares, but they created so much tension. There were so many really well done, really creepy sequences that, it's, for a lot of us, it was a huge surprise hit, and it was really well done, and it was for the horror fan. It wasn't a sequel, it wasn't a remake, it wasn't a reboot. It was just a good, solid horror flick, and that's exactly what we wanted. Sinister has really weird music in the movie. That was something that really kind of, at points, took me out of it. In sequences where in a lot of other movies there would be no sound at all, or there'd just be like a low sort of hum. There was this sort of almost techno, scary theme that was going on at some points in the movie. And it was so obvious when they were going to build up a boo scare, because the music just, of course, dropped out entirely, which just yelled like, here comes the boo scare, or here comes any kind of scare. So definitely not a lot of, unexpected scares in the movie, I thought. I would have liked it if they'd opened up the movie a little bit, sort of brought the movie out into, the town. They kept talking about how much, the town folk from these different towns where Ethan Hawke would go to research and write books. They didn't like him. He wasn't, welcome in the town. Right at the beginning of the movie, the town sheriff shows up and is very rude to Ethan Hawke and is like, we don't like you around here, and blah, blah, blah. And his wife at one point mentions, I can't go to the grocery store without people looking at me strangely and so on. I think it would have been cool if they'd opened it up a little bit and actually kind of showed that instead of her just saying it, because the movie is very claustrophobic. The movie is very, encapsulated in this one house for 90% of it. Another thing that kind of bothered me about the movie is the more I think about it, the more it just doesn't make sense. The plot just really doesn't make sense. There's a lot of stuff in it that when you stop and you think about it, you're just like, really? So I don't know. If you can let yourself go and let yourself just become, encapsulated and enraptured in this, just creepy, solid, good little horror movie, then I think you'll really enjoy it. It's good, but it's not great. But the bottom line is how much good horror comes along, and the answer is very, very little. So when a good horror movie does come along, like Sinister, definitely need to go out and check it out and support it, and let the powers that be know that we like original horror films. That the remake thing we're fed up with. The 3D thing we're fed up with. Give us good, solid, original, scary horror films that build tension, create atmosphere, and are out to just scare the crap out of us. So definitely, yeah, I would recommend Sinister. I would go into it, my expectations probably were a little too high considering how much I really enjoyed the trailer. But as I said, still, I think it's a solid horror flick that definitely deserves to be seen. So yeah, if you guys are interested in Sinister and you haven't checked it out yet, I would recommend it. And definitely beware of Bagul, because Bagul is a pretty serious character. He's a child eater, and yeah. Even Bagul's backstory is kind of, I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I'm just kind of like, huh. Anyway, go check out Sinister. Don't worry about it. Just don't think about it. Don't think about the plot, the story. Just let it all wash over you. Let Bagul embrace you. Embrace Bagul. And yeah. So anyway, until next time, you guys take it easy. Peace.